Potent Pondering, I'm back with another video. Yo, this is just a sad situation that happened on New Year's Day. I'm pretty sure by now you've heard about the incident that happened in New Orleans. The 15 people, as of now, unalive by this man from Houston. Listen, I personally believe that it was an attack on foundational Black Americans, but I know that they said that some Mexican people, were injured or passed away due to this as well. But when you think of New Orleans and you think of Bourbon Street and all of that, who do you think of? You think of Black Americans, right? But anyway, listen, Potent Pondering, please come in, get this video to 1,000 likes, please. Thumbs up the video. That's the least that you could do to support this video and get it moving in the algorithm. Listen, so I want to talk about it, right? I want to just say this. When it comes to Black people, everybody has their thing with them. But when do you ever hear of us doing these terrorist attacks and, impacting people on a level largely like that? Every community has its crime. But when do you hear about us going around purposely doing things like this, So I know you heard about this situation, and you also heard about the explosion at the Trump Tower in Vegas, right? They're saying that these situations are connected. First and foremost, I want to get into it and tell you about what happened in New Orleans. So I seen this article on CNN. I'm just going to brief you on some of the things. So they said what we know about the suspect in the New Orleans attacks. So his name is Shamoudin Jabbar. He's born in Texas, from Texas, 42-year-old Army veteran who is from Texas, who has been identified as a suspect who intentionally rammed a pickup truck. Let me tell you something. I couldn't even watch the video. When I was younger, I'm 41. When I was younger, I used to be able to watch fight videos, all of that. I couldn't even watch the video at all. I just didn't want that on my spirit. He rammed the truck into a large crowd in New Orleans, Bourbon Street, early morning on New Year's Eve, according to the authorities. He was killed in a firefight with police after the crash. Listen, I'm happy that he's gone. I don't care how you feel about it. I'm happy that he's gone. I'm happy. But it's just unfortunate that, let me tell you something. I hate to be a part of I hate when people are a part of something that's so senseless. This man frustrated. He mad because he got a divorce from, his wife divorced him, and, a lot of things swirling around about him. He even had some sort of message where it said that he planned to even unalive his whole family, but then he didn't go with it or whatever, right? So he had to go to New Orleans. He drove to New Orleans and took out these people. I believe that it was a target on foundational Black Americans. I personally believe it. Come on. So listen, Jabbar was raised in Beaumont, Texas, which is not far away from me. I'm in the Houston area. He said in 2020 on YouTube that in a video titled Personal Introduction, in which he pitched himself as a personal real estate agent based in Houston. Authorities say Jabbar was an Army veteran, right? Though officials did not immediately confirm this about his service. We believe that he was honorably discharged, but we are working through the process to finding out all of the information in regards to him being associated with the Army, right? So he had an ISIS flag found in the truck, the FBI confirmed. The agency said that it was working to determine any potential associations with terrorist group, right? Now you think about ISIS, you think about the situation that happened in Vegas with Trump. This man is born in America, though. For some reason, he's identifying with ISIS, right? Listen, this situation is so heavy to me, and I just can't believe that people can't even go to a New Year's Eve celebration and celebrate them. This woman I seen on Twitter, she was saying that her 18-year-old daughter, was she 18 or 22? I think she was 18, and that she wasn't even supposed to be there, but she snuck up there with her cousin, and she was one of the people who was unalived in that plow of him doing that. Right? So she thinking that she just gonna go away and get back home. She didn't even make it back home to her mother and her family. My heart is really heavy for this right now. I just want to, let me just get through this, right? So, excuse me. So Jabbar, who held jobs in real estate and IT, has been struggling with financial troubles in recent years, court documents show. In January 2022, email filed, January 2022, an email filed as part of his divorce case, he wrote that he could not afford the payments on his house, right? So which he said was more than $27,000 in past due and in danger of foreclosure. The divorce settlement was further delayed. He also said that his business lost more than $28,000 in 2021, and he incurred approximately $16,000 in credit card debt. So it's all of these people who are frustrated, and then they turn to the black community to take out their rage. We are the stage for their rage. You've seen it happen many times, right? So the mother of his two children sued him back in 2012 over child support, and the case ended up being dismissed or whatever. So they went over his education and things like that. I'm not really going to get into that. I just want to go to the tippy top of this article and just give you some updates as it relates to this matter, right? And so, there was a website called Turo or something like that where he rented a car from Turo, and then the incident that happened in Vegas where the truck blew up, right? They're saying that they both were rented from the same site. So listen, he probably figured we go to New Orleans and get the black people, and maybe they targeted a certain demographic when they went out there to Vegas. So listen, so at least 15 people killed in New Orleans after a driver intentionally rams into a crowd. He intentionally did that. That means that you had malice and you meant to do that. So all right, so let's just get into some takeaways from that, right? So at least 15 people unalived and dozens injured when a driver rammed a truck, Shamad, whoever his name is, ram a pickup truck into a crowd during a New Year's celebration on Bourbon Street in New Orleans early on Wednesday morning. The FBI is investigating it as an act of terrorism. You damn right it's an act of terrorism. Every time they do something against us, listen, the situation in Buffalo, New York, that mass spree, Buffalo, New York, that targeted us. That Dylan Roof chilling up in the church and then took out the people in the church. That's an act of terrorism. It's all, we don't ever act like this though, right? But listen, they spend all of the police, the FBI, whatever, they spend all of their time monitoring us. They monitoring the wrong people. Listen, man, so the FBI identified him as 42-year-old. We already spoke about that. Multiple officials said that the suspect made a series of videos recording before the Wednesday attack. The attack in the popular French Quarter happened less than a mile where the Sugar Bowl was scheduled to be hosted today, Wednesday. The annual football game was postponed to 24 hours until, for safety reasons, till tomorrow, right? My heart goes out to anybody impacted, affected, anybody who knows any of these individuals, affiliated. It's just horrible. So Turo, the website where they booked these vehicles from the guy who had the vehicle and the from Houston that brung it to New Orleans, they got it from Turo. The platform says that they were used to rent the vehicles used in the deadly incidents in the New Orleans and Las Vegas. So Turo, the platform was used to rent the vehicles in the Turo is a company that runs an online platform that allows owners to rent their vehicles, right? So they said that we are actively partnering with law enforcement and authorities as they investigate both incidents, the spokesperson said to CNN. We do not believe that either renter involved in the Las Vegas or New Orleans had a criminal background that would have identified them as a security threat. So I guess they have a screening process or whatever that they go through, and they're saying that they didn't have any type of criminal background. All right. So in New Orleans, it was an F-150. Y'all know them heavy trucks? He rented an F-150 to plow the crowd. An F-150 rented through Turo was allegedly used by the suspect identified as Shamoud Din Jabbar, right? Who official says that he unalived 15 people after the pickup truck rammed through the crowd on Bourbon Street during New Year's Eve celebrations on Wednesday morning. You know how many people just want to go out and make it back? And listen, this is why I'm telling you, you might think that I'm crazy, but when I go out to stuff, it'd be a blessing to me just to make it back in one piece. Really. You know what the thing about it is? Anything can happen to me or to happen to you. I never want my family to get that phone call. I'm pretty sure these people thought the same way. Many of us, when we go out in the world, we never want our family to get that phone call. They went out to have fun on New Year's and was unable to make it back home because this lunatic coming from Houston he targeted that community. I don't care what you say and how you feel. I feel like he targeted FBAs. He definitely did. So the FBI is investigating this as an act of terrorism. In Las Vegas, an unknown individual was unalived after a Tesla Cybertruck. And when I seen that situation, I was like, what's going on with Elon? I'm like, yo, his stock is about to drop. And I seen him even go online and was, talking about how like this was nothing related to any type of like manufacturer or any type of issue like that. He made sure he cleared that up, right? So a Tesla Cybertruck was driving, exploded outside of the Trump Tower on Wednesday morning. So the authorities are investigating whether it was a terrorist attack and believe that fireworks, gas tanks, and camping fuel were used in the explosion. So, it's the new year. They really tried to do a boom, boom, boom. So the spokesperson stated to continue saying that the company remained committed to maintaining the highest standards in risk management. Thanks to our world-class trust and safety technologies, and teams include experienced former law enforcement professionals. We are heartbroken by the violence perpetrated in New Orleans and Las Vegas, and our prayers are with the victims and the families. Let me tell you something, yo. Listen, when something happened to you, you just a part of a number. Your family might get some money or something like that. In this case, I don't see how they would get any money or whatever, but it's like you just a number. I hate senseless acts of violence. I hate when people die for silly reasons. Like, all right, so the FBI will brief Thursday on New Orleans attack, the aides say. So they just saying that the FBI will brief on this on Thursday. Law enforcement is hours away from entering the home they believe that is connected to the suspect here in Houston. So I see the Harris County sheriff, trucks outside. All right, so they're saying that the law enforcement is waiting on federal authorization to search the Houston home they believe is connected to the suspected New Orleans attacker. A spokesperson with the FBI told reporters authorities are hours and hours away from being able to enter the home. Listen, y'all enter the home immediately, or who knows how long, when y'all want to do little drug raids in the hood and stuff. You mean to tell me for something so critical and serious like this, you can't just immediately get in the house? You talking about you hours and hours away, the spokesperson told the FBI reporters. Authorities added that they have been clearing the neighborhood and escorting people away from the area. No one in the area has been arrested related to the ongoing investigation. So they said 2 college students were among those injured in the deadly attack. So I guess the school in Florida reached out and said that 2 of them, 2 college students were targeted. 2 19-year-old women were among those injured in the deadly New Orleans attack Wednesday, according to the Centerbury School of Fort Myers. When those women were identified, right? Unfortunate. I'm sorry. I wish. Listen, I pray for a speedy recovery speedy recovery for anybody injured, and I don't even listen. Sometimes when people die, it's like sometimes you don't know what to say, but like, rest in peace and send your condolences, because how do you come back from like something like this? Like the woman who lost her 18-year-old daughter who went down there with her cousin, like. Authorities are interviewing people who knew the suspected New Orleans attacker. So, they're interviewing people who knew him or whatever, right? He has some sort of ISIS flag. New Orleans City Council member says 2 injured police officers were high-spirited when they spoke to them. Yeah, I'm sure they're high-spirited because they didn't get unalived. They're high-spirited. Let's keep moving. I just want to yeah. So then they made sure that they put that in. At least 2 Mexicans were injured in the New Orleans attack, Mexican Ministry of Foreign Affairs says. They weren't unalive though, And I'm pretty sure when this man went down to New Orleans, he didn't have Mexican people in the mind when he plotted out this attack. All right. So 2 Mexicans were injured. New Orleans City Hall will be closed to the public. Melania Trump post thoughts and prayers in wake of the New Orleans attack and Cybertruck explosion. So Melania said, the incidents of violence that has impacted our communities are deeply concerning, and the brutality must stop. My heartfelt thoughts and prayers are with the families of those who experiencing such profound grief and loss. Let us strive for the future where peace prevails. New Orleans Pelicans head coach sends condolences to the families impacted by the senseless violence. All right. Biden says nobody should jump to conclusions as investigations into the New Orleans attack continues. That was 3 hours ago. What do you mean, Biden? I'm happy he out of here. Get out of here. jump to conclusions. 15 people lost their life. Biden tells families of the victims in deadly attack in New Orleans that the nation grieves with you. Duh! Anybody with a heart would. New Orleans health system calls on the public to donate blood, so they're doing some sort of blood drive as well. Officials have sounded alarm in the recent months over ISIS recruitment efforts and lone wolf terror attacks. Sounded alarm, so they're saying that the officials sounded an alarm months ago in regards to ISIS recruitment efforts. So they're saying that I guess it's Shabar or whatever his name is he affiliated with some sort of ISIS recruitment? This man was upset. He planned on taking out his whole family too, but he planned. Listen, these people is sick. This goes to show you don't know who's around you. This man planned to get his family together for a celebration and off all of them. Sick. New Orleans Saints intern coach says that the city has risen before and they'll rise again. I'm sure you would say that because you ain't have no family impacted by this. Who is this man? Who that man them? Darren Rizzi, New Orleans Saints interim head coach. Of course you're going to say that, Darren. You ain't have nobody in your family down there. I'm sick of people making comments. Look, the city has risen before. Yeah. Man, listen, let's keep going. I ain't even reading the sentiments. 2 visitors of New Orleans neighborhood with heavy police presence say officer told them not to expect to return tonight. 2 visitors of New Orleans with heavy police presence say officer told them not to return tonight. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going down. New Orleans Archbishop offers prayers and support for the families. All right. Suspect in New Orleans attack made series of recordings before Wednesday. They said that he drove from Houston and he had like these recordings. They're not really saying what's what he was saying, but I guess they uncovered and they said that and. In the recordings, the suspect makes reference to his divorce and how he had first planned to gather his family for a celebration with the intention of offing them. These people sick bad in the brain. Sick bad. These people mad because their wife's divorcing them, and then they want to come out and take out their frustrations on black people so conveniently, right? 2 officials, all right, so he said he was planning a celebration with the intention of offing his families. 2 officials who had been briefed on the material on the recordings. The suspect also talked about how he had changed his plans and said that he joined ISIS. He referenced several dreams about that he had about joining ISIS, right? Former congressman who represented New Orleans says that the mood in the city is somber, but we always get back up. I'm sure you would say that, Bob. You ain't get impacted by it. Of course, like, listen, let me tell you something. Everything is like a bee sting when it happens. You get stung and then, it gets better and better days later, right? Thumbs up this video. Please thumbs up this video if you're watching. Get this video to 1,000 likes. Of course it's going to get better. You ain't got no choice but to move on or you're going to be subdued by the matter. But listen, I just feel like sometimes these comments that they be making is insensitive, it's inappropriate. If your family member got taken out, then you make these comments. It's easy to make these. Listen, I don't even have anybody impacted directly, but I can imagine my family member telling me or my nieces or somebody telling me they're going somewhere and they don't make it back. Come on. Suspect in the New Orleans attack served in the U.S. Army as an HR and IT specialist, and they said that he was honorably discharged. Death toll 15. 37-year-old New Orleans man, 37-year-old black man in New Orleans attacked Texas family group Happy New Year's before his tragic death. Reggie Hunter, a 37-year-old from Baton Rouge, was killed in New Orleans truck attack, leaving behind his 11-year-old and 1-year-old child. According to his cousin Sherelle Robinson Jackson, Jackson and Hunter was on Bourbon Street with his cousin Kevin Ball, who is currently hospitalized. Jackson hasn't been in touch with Ball directly, but her cousin spoke to him the morning of and said that he was awake and asking about Hunter. The last time Jackson heard from Hunter was 12:07 when he texted the family group message saying Happy New Year. Could you imagine that being the last time you spoke to your cousin when he went out for a celebration and he's supposed to make it back home? About 5 hours later, he arrived at the hospital, according to Jackson. He was alive when they got there, she said. However, he died from internal injuries by the time she arrived to the hospital about 7:20. The doctor said that Jackson's injuries indicated that the truck drove over him. I'm happy that Shabar is unalived. I'm happy. I'm happy he's unalived. He had a ruptured spleen. He had a punctured lung and internal bleeding among other injuries. He was not a threat to anyone, his family is saying. He surely did not deserve this. Described multiple inside jokes the two had. He loved his kids. He loved his family. But you know, you step outside and go from your apartment to go get something in your car. You lucky you make it back. You think I'm playing. So they speaking again about the Sugar Bowl and saying how that's been postponed. Investigators now believe 4 people in the video may not have been involved in placing the IEDs. All right, they're speaking about that. This is just an unfortunate situation. So they did a little write-up saying here's what they need to know about the New Orleans New Year's tragedy. So at least 10 people were injured. So, you know, I'm reading down on CNN. So we've pretty much covered a lot of this because they're just rehashing it, you know, back, you know, when you get lower in the article. But listen, I really want your comments below. Let me know what you think about this. Why is it always black people are always the target of some sort of terrorist attack? We are always, and we are never the ones doing it, but yet we get watched the most, right? My heart goes out to all of these people, even the injured ones, you know, the injured, the critically wounded injured ones, and the people who lost their family. Just be safe out here, yo. You never know who's plotting against you. This man, he has some psychological, deep-rooted issues. His wife divorced him. He had planned on unaliving the whole family. They're saying that these situations from Vegas and, you know, New Orleans are connected. Just be safe out there. Like, yo, if you black, listen, just be safe. Point blank, because in my mind, this was definitely targeted to that area. When you think of New Orleans or you think of Bourbon Street and all of that, you think of black people. He intended on doing that. And I understand that some people thought that this man was black. He is not black. You can look at the photo, look at the hair and tell that he's not black at all. He's not. Because we don't do stuff like that. We don't, listen, I understand that we do have crime in our community and people may have their targets and all of that, but we don't do stuff like that. We don't at all. So listen, potent pondering, never pandering. Please get this video to 1,000 likes. Get in the comments. Let me know what you think, yo. Yeah. Rest in peace to anybody who lost their life. My heart goes out to the family, and I'm wishing a speedy recovery to anybody who's injured and affected by, you know, the incident that happened earlier today. Listen, I'm up out of here. Peace.